And for all the very latest this morning on Europe, I'm joined from the financial hub of London by David Buik from BGC Partners. David, welcome.
Good evening, Tiki.
Good evening. The all-important Spanish bond sale this morning, your time, how did that go?
I think to say it went on and averagely would be probably being quite kind. What they tried to do was to get away €4.5 billion worth of bonds maturing between 2015 and 2016. They got the princely sum of 2.15 billion away. Market was underwhelmed despite the fact that the yields on offer, for instance, in some of the 2015s, it was 4.375. That's up from a previous issue to that date from 2.89%. So
yes, so very expensive.
Yeah, and they said, not for me, thanks, which is not surprising, because until the European politicians realise that we have got a serious problem, well, I'm sure they realise it, that we can't go on just reeling from one crisis to another, buyers of bonds are going to back off and say, after you, Marmaduke, not for us at the moment. And you can't blame them.
At a more local level, there was a run, as we've reported, on the Greek banks yesterday. Do you expect that to slow down now or just keep going?
I think really Greece is in isolation with a lot of this. We have seen a run on Spanish banks in the month of April. I think something over €6 billion left them as well from retail depositors. But I think, you know, if the European Union, and it's not very often you hear Sir Mervyn King using intemperate language, and when he says this is really a serious problem and nobody seems to have any idea, what he's saying to the politicians is you have to deal with it. You can't just say it'll sort itself out, because it won't. And Greece is actually a very small part of the European zone's climate. In fact, it's only got about 2.7% of the entire growth. So it is possible, with understanding, kindness and time, to let it go. But what we can't do to Greece, just because they're having a hard time, is saying, oh, well, we feel very sorry for you, so we'll cut your level of interest rates borrowing, we'll leave you twice as long to repay it back. What about the rest of the people? Well, we have to make a stand.
Hopping back to Spain for a moment, we're just talking about the Spanish bank. I see there's reports that the Spaniards have pulled, this is investors, have pulled €1 billion out of Bankia. That, of course, was the Spanish bank that recently been renationalised, and that it's plunged 26% this morning.
That's my understanding as well, Tiki, but the fact remains is I think that may well have been precipitated by the very poor reception to the Spanish bond auction at these very high levels, and knowing that Bankia has got more than its fair share of toxic debt in the form of property, which is sitting idly on the east coast of Spain, unsold and unlikely to even be rent. So this is a major problem. But all these things come from confidence. And unfortunately, there is no confidence in the European Union at the moment. And were they actually to be seen to be decisive about just one thing, people talking about the level of contagion at frightening levels, I think if they were real leaders and were at one accord, the contagion is nothing like as bad as people think, because you have got a real economy in Spain and a real economy in Italy. Italy, I mean, north of the River Po, is an extremely rich country. Well, I see, and they can galvanise themselves.
All right. Well, let's in the last minute I have with you, let me ask you about this enormous float that's about to happen. This global float of Facebook, notwithstanding the European markets. How do you reckon it's going to go, David?
Well, the fact is it's going to have the best shareholder register you could possibly imagine. I mean, there are 850 million users of Facebook. On a daily basis or a user basis, 483 million people. So there's vast global interest. The only thing I would say is it good value tomorrow at 104 billion in valuation?
Indeed.
It wouldn't be for me. It wouldn't be for me, but I have every reason to believe that it's very much on our horizon for an indefinite period of time, and I'm sure when they get it sorted out, people will make money. But I think to say that you're putting your pink form in today and it's going to be a 15 or 20% premium by tomorrow night, I have my severe doubts, and I don't think the climate is right at the moment. The only thing it has got over many other IPOs, every grandmother and his dog wants to be involved, and that's brilliant.
Good on you, David Buik. I think you're probably right about that premium. Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot. God bless.